Hi everyone, my name is Arth Avatal and I'm a high school student with an interest in the financial field and financial literacy. I started this podcast to help people gain financial knowledge and help people all around the world grasp a better understanding of the financial field. To help me out with this podcast, here with me is Archana Lahoti. Firstly, I would like to thank Mrs. Lahoti for being on this podcast and giving up her time and expertise. Now, I will pass it on to her to answer my first question. Can you please
Hey, Arthur.
Can you introduce yourself and your field of work? And can you describe a little bit what you do in that field?
Sure, Arthur. My name, as you know, is Archana Lahoti. I'm a CPA, a certified public accountant. I have my own firm here in Irvine, Orange County, in California. My firm provides income tax services, compliance, consulting, planning. We serve public and private limited companies, high net worth individuals, some startups. We assist clients with federal, multi-state, and to an extent, international tax related requirements. That's what we do, income taxes.
Nice. Okay, so that's all very interesting. I'm sure there's a lot of kids out there that would be interested in finance. They're interested in the major overall. So that's actually another reason I'm doing this podcast is, after I get insight from you, what you do in your career, what you do in your job, maybe that will inspire other kids around the world and, help them be like, yes, this is what I want to do. And
Absolutely. We need more accountants in our field.
yeah. And that leads me to my next question, which is actually, what was that one thing that really, sparked your interest in joining the field? And can you share a little backstory on like how you got to where you are right now?
Yeah. Well, I am a chartered accountant from India. I'm born and brought up in India. So a chartered accountant is similar to a CPA in United States. So back home, I worked with a large bank and then a large automobile company in their accounting department. I got exposed to the intricacies of accounting. I was able to use my theoretical knowledge into practical knowledge, and all pieces seemed to fall in place at that time. The biggest benefit there was I was lucky to have great mentors in these companies. It was actually their accomplishments and the respect that people around them gave to them, their positions, that drew me further into this game. The tremendous amount of intellect, the tremendous amount of skills these people had, and how everyone regarded them so highly. Soon I moved to US and I joined Deloitte Tax, and the same thing carried over. I was exposed to so many accountants who were masters, like specialists in their fields. Our clients respected them. Within that entire Deloitte community, they carried so much of respect, and they mentored me. The tremendous learning, the client service opportunities, getting exposed to the challenges. There was no looking back. I was just drawn to this field. It needed intellect. It needed grit. It carried so much of respect. I was like, you know what? This is what I want to do. Eventually, I opened my own firm. I think I always had an entrepreneur in me, but I didn't realize it at that time, though. And then I poured all that I learned into these previous jobs, and I continue to garner that respect now for myself. The way my clients look at me for guidance, the way they consult with me and appreciate and acknowledge it, and that acknowledge the effort, the 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 knowledge and the intellect that needs to go with it. That is what draws me to this field again and again.
So just a little follow-up question. So would you say like a good mentor and a good work environment is really what drew you in to the job?
Yes, a good mentor, yes, but what caused that mentor to be such a respected person? That is what drew me.
Mm.
So what he or she were doing, and I felt interested in what they were doing. I liked accounting, but then the value that accountants put in, I could foresee it through those mentors.
Mm. That's
Yep.
nice. And that brings me to my next question. So what are some key skills or qualifications that really helped you advance in your career, made you go from this level to this level? And this can range from like just having good communication skills, good networks, or extracurricular activities, stuff like that.
All of this. So obviously, being a CPA is the primary qualification. You need to pass that exam and get that license. That goes without saying. But to be a good CPA, I think what set me apart was my detail-oriented nature and my listening skills, both very important. They both these skills ensured that my work product was solid. It helped me make sure that we are addressing all tax items appropriately. My clients felt invested, that I was invested in them. I wasn't just finishing off work. Sometimes in my field or when I talk to clients, when I have that personal touch, communicate with them more often, um, they sometimes my clients don't foresee something that is important. They may not think that certain things that they did, certain life events that happened, may have any tax impact. But when I talk to them, I understand. I don't talk to them about only tax. I talk to them about life. And that helps me when I listen, that helps me identify what other tax things may affect them, something that they need to comply with, or something that they can benefit from. So, effective communication, detail orientation, these skills definitely help me. And then when I was in school, I I was a debate person. I attended or I participated in several debates or essay writings. So my writing skills, my communication skills were further honed because of these. So I think it starts early in ways that we don't realize.
Yeah.
Yeah,
And I think also just in general, having a um good relationship with your clients and like interacting them on a personal level too, so that the connection is just better between you two,
absolutely.
help the job and help
Yeah,
the clients. And in general, it would just help everything out, make everything easier.
absolutely agreed. You need to have good relationships with your clients.
Yes.
I always, whenever I take on a new client, I always tell them that I'm not your tax preparer. My goal is to be a trusted tax advisor. I don't want you to think of me when it is time to file your taxes. I want you to think of me before you make any decisions, any
Yeah.
financial decisions. And we get there. It's a matter, and the more I communicate, the more they understand. So most of my clients, obviously the new ones, they're not habituated to that. So it takes them a couple of experiences to get on board. But for most of them, they all say, anytime we think of something to do, the first thing that comes to our mind is let's first check with Archana. And I think that's my goal. I'm right there in their minds before they make any important decisions in their lives.
That's perfect. That's where you want
Yeah,
to be.
exactly.
That leads me to my next question, which is, can you just describe a typical day in your job, what you do throughout the day, stuff like that? Things can
There
get
is no typical day here. It's, um, you know, it every day here is different. It depends on what time of the year it is. It also depends on what's going on that particular day. But I usually, just to give you an idea, I start, my day with a review of things. I have a to-do list. In order to keep tab of things, everyone needs to have a to-do list. That keeps you on track. Nothing slips through the crack. So I review my to-do list every morning. I classify them between what I need to do sooner versus what I can, I plan my day accordingly. I always leave some time in between, a buffer, should something urgent come in. Um, and then, as I said, every day is tailored differently. Sometimes, some days you will see me doing heavy research. It depends on what projects are going on that time of the year or that day. Maybe a client calls with something so urgent that I need to put everything on my to-do list on the side and focus on that. Some days you'll see me just focusing on tax returns because it's a due date. Like tax due date is 2 days from now. Nothing else is important than wrapping up those tax returns at that time. Or sometimes you'll see me doing my research or going out, meeting clients, having lunches with them, or going to some conferences. So it it is different depending on what projects are going on at that day. But one thing that is constant is every day I leave some time for my personal reading, my tax reading. So every day I make sure that I read something that's going on, like, a new tax court case that has come out, or a new concept, or an existing concept on which there is an article in more depth. So I read. That is one thing that I always make sure. And I love that. I love doing that because I'm a lifelong learner. And that's how everyone should be, especially in my field where everything is changing and it's an ocean. No matter how much you do, I don't claim that I know the entire tax code, you know. So there's always things that you can learn. So I always leave time to do my learning every day, like read something, learn something, research something. So I
Yeah.
leave that. So that makes me, you know, current. It makes me an even better CPA to give better service to my clients.
I think that's
That's
really
that's how it is. Yeah.
That's definitely, you know, when there was actually this survey, and when they asked millionaires how do they, like, get to that level, a lot of them said one of the like main things that they said in common was reading books,
Oh,
or
wow.
reading about the world, just reading and learning more things every day, reading new things. And then another thing, this is not the survey, but one thing that I liked what you said was staying organized, having a to-do list.
Yeah.
That's amazing way, especially for an accountant. There's so many things all around the place.
Yeah.
So staying organized is good. And also I know it might get hectic at some times of year when, there's a day you have to pay all your taxes by. So I guess it would definitely get more hectic around there. So
Definitely. Definitely. Yep. And then the rule of thumb is you respond back to any email or phone call within 24 hours max. So that's why that to-do list is also more important. So I don't end up missing something or getting back to someone.
yeah.
Yeah.
So my next question is, how do you see technology such as AI? AI has been coming in lately. It's a huge
Yeah.
thing. How do you see that impacting your sector, your financial sector?
Arthav, AI is here to stay. And my field is not immune to the changes that AI is going to bring in on how we do our work or how we serve our clients. In fact, I was at a conference in early May, a CPA conference, and one of the key items that was being discussed over 3 days, in multiple sessions, one way or other. There was one session that was dedicated only to AI, but what was being discussed was how can we accountants embrace AI and use it to our benefit. AI can address a lot of things. Like very soon, AI will be preparing the first draft of our tax returns. However, as of now, AI does not seem to be a replacement for human involvement in the field of accounting. We are always going to be there. AI, at the end of the day, is machine learning, and you will need humans to make sure that you use it correctly to get the right results.
Yeah.
It's garbage in, garbage out, right? Um, it will be a good assistant, though. It will take over tasks that will free us accountants to serve our clients with more time planning, consulting, researching deeper, basically quality over quantity. So I look at AI as an essential tool. It is a helpful tool for us accountants now and in future for sure. As it makes more progress, I am excited to see what AI can do to us.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So do you ever think, do you ever get scared like AI could just take over a job completely?
No, no,
You you think AI is more of an
it's a
assistant,
tool.
something
Yeah.
that helps you? Yeah.
It's going to be an assistant, a helpful assistant. But I don't feel threatened. I think we have evolved every time.
Yeah.
At least we have enough history behind us to understand back then people used to do tax returns on paper,
Yeah.
writing down everything, use the calculator, total up, spreadsheets came, computer came. Did that just, did that make humans redundant? No, it made us more efficient. We could do more things. With that was, I think, the biggest change. This one, I think we have experience with computers. I think we should not be threatened. We should be excited to see what it can do to us. There are already bots. Have you heard of Delphi?
No.
So there are bots that can take your voice. If you feed them enough of your YouTube videos, they'll take your mannerisms, and people will feel as if you are the one who's giving that advice. It's AI.
Yeah.
I mean, there are so many exciting things that are happening there. I'm excited. I'm
Yeah,
curious. I am looking forward to embracing them.
I agree. AI is very cool. And I'm honestly excited too, all the advancements it can make in the world, everything it can help out
Yeah.
with. And that leads me to my next question, which is how important is networking in your industry? And what is the best way to build a strong network, a strong communication with your clients, etc.?
Very, very, very important. I cannot stress how important networking is, not just in the field of accounting. I think it is important everywhere. Personal level, professional level, networking is very important. And then especially in the section of clientele that I work in, none of my clients are going to look up a CPA on internet and contact them for their taxes. It's a very important and sensitive relationship, and probably not just long term, I would say lifelong. That's what they want a partner who can guide them throughout. And it's an important relationship. All my clients come through referrals from friends, from existing clients, from CFOs of the companies that I worked with, or from auditors that I worked with who know my strong suits or my specialties. uh, this is networking. The best way to build networking, Arthur, I think, is to start in school or college. I did not personally get that benefit because I did not study in the United States, but I have firsthand seen the benefit of how those networks help you when you are in your profession. And it's wonderful. Your friends will move in different industries, they will take different jobs. You will move in different industries, you will take different jobs. And imagine that ecosystem that you build for yourself.
Yeah.
So many connections from schools and colleges, and then as you grow in your profession, you join your professional societies, your local chapters, you get involved in community, the local community, charitable organizations. All these are wonderful, wonderful opportunities for you to build your network. That's how you do it. But start early, start in your school, college. And it's become so much easier now with social media, Instagram and Snapchat. I don't know what you guys do with that Snapchat thing, but yes, I can see it as being an important networking tool for you guys.
No, I agree. Networking, you talked about networking in jobs. Even for me, networking in school, I feel like
Mm,
it helps a lot because like I'm about to go to college. I'm in junior year, so one more year, and I'm gonna be doing my college applications. And I can always ask people in colleges, in my dream college, or people in colleges that I would like to go to. They can help me out with my essay. So it's all about building a strong connection with people, helping each other out, and building a strong network can just help you achieve many things and get high.
absolutely. And you have so much to offer. You offer it to them when they need it. It's a symbiotic relationship.
And so my next question is a little more on the financial and stock side, but
Uh-huh.
what are some common mistakes people make when investing? And can you share some of your investing tips?
See, while I'm not a financial planner,
Yeah.
I think this question is more suitable for them to answer. But when working with clients on their tax side, I also see some of their investing habits, decisions, right? So, a few things that I notice: people don't realize that there is no one size fits all. Following what your friend did without understanding what your friend's portfolio, risk taking capacity, liquidity needs are, it can be very different than yours. That's one of the most common mistake that I see people make. Oh, my friend invested there, so I invested there. Well, it might be a long term investment. Your friend may not need the money, you need it next year. What do you do? Or so on. Another common mistake that I see is not considering the tax effect of their decisions. This is where I come in, the trusted tax advisor. I want them to consult with me before making those decisions, right? So, for example, on the tax side, if you pay, you have residential home and you take a mortgage on it, right? So you have to pay interest. every month you pay a monthly payment, which includes principal payment and the interest on the loan. So under the tax laws, you can deduct interest on up to 750,000 of that mortgage principal. Okay, if it's your residential home. If it's your rental property, there is no limitation on how much your mortgage amount is. Your interest on that entire mortgage is deductible. Okay. Now, let's say you have some additional cash that you want to use to pay down your mortgage. People think, well, it doesn't matter. I'm just paying down my mortgage. Well, it does matter. What you do is you pay your residential mortgage first if it is over 750,000, because anything over 750,000, the interest on that portion is not deductible. So you're not getting any tax benefit on that. So you would rather want to bring that down because the interest on that rental property is fully tax deductible. So if you have a choice on whether I should pay down my residential mortgage which is over 750,000, or should I pay down my rental, you would go for the residential. So it's not apples to apples. It may be apples to apples in terms of mortgage principal going down, but the tax effect is different.
Yeah,
One has a better answer.
that's
So
interesting.
sometimes I see people don't consider that. They look at money, they look at the number, they say, okay, it doesn't matter what I pay.
Yeah,
So yeah, they should consider the tax effect of their decisions.
that's cool. I never knew that.
Yeah.
That's why we need CPAs.
Yep.
And then, okay, so this question is more for just the people watching if they want to go into this field. It is, what is the company culture like where you work, and is it a good environment to spend most of your life in?
Well, it's my own company, so I would say yes.
Yeah.
It's definitely a culture. One of the reasons why I started my own company was I wanted flexibility. There's a lot of challenge in this field in taxation, a lot of tax deadlines, but with the right amount of flexibility, it becomes more enjoyable, more manageable. And a lot of companies now do offer flexibility because everyone recognizes how accountants need to decompress during the non-busy time to be able to sustain the busy time. So there's a lot of flexibility, but we also make sure that it does not cost us quality of our service.
Yeah.
And it's doable. We take downtime to recharge ourselves, and then we give 150% when it is time. It's definitely a great environment to spend most of my life in. There's a lot of focus on learning and development, which
Yeah.
is really important. Like, if you want to continue growing, you need to continuously update yourself. Once you stop growing, that's where the stagnancy kicks in, and that's where you start losing interest.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That makes sense. I agree. Flexibility is, for me at least, is a very important thing that I would want to have in my job. I
Mhm.
don't want to just, do the same thing every single day, same schedule. I want to be able to be flexible. And yeah, so I think for me as a finance major, I would definitely want to work in that environment. And it seems like a good place to be. And
Yeah.
so actually this question relates to that. What advice would you give people to enter this financial environment, enter that field?
Uh, Advice. This field is very challenging. It's dynamic. It's constantly evolving. You'll learn a lot of new things. New laws will keep you on your toes. There's a lot of hard work that goes in being a good accountant, which is why this position it also carries a lot of respect. It is recession proof. No matter where the economy is, you're always going to need accountants. So job security is definitely there. You
Yeah.
can add a lot of valuable contribution to the society, by assisting clients and companies in making sure that their reportings are correct. They are responsibly reporting everything. You can, we firsthand experienced what a financial meltdown can do to the society, right? So by being great accountants, great support to our clients, we can make sure that the financial wheel of this economy uh, works well, because that's an important support for the entire structure to work. It affects our personal lives more than we think. Finance, tax, they are important aspects for everyone's life.
Yeah.
If you can help people achieve their life goals by being their trusted advisors, how cool is that? So
Yeah.
what I would tell people is enter this field with full determination and know that you will be proud of yourself and that a great future awaits you.
I think for me, at least one thing, if I ever want to go into a job, or even when I'm just doing simple tasks like stringing a tennis machine, after I finish that task, the accomplishment that I get, it just shows me like all the hard work that I put into that, it all
Yeah,
pays off. So I
it's
would
so
say
satisfying, right?
for that job, yeah, when you accomplish that, it's super satisfying. So yeah,
Absolutely. The so 2 weeks earlier, it was just one of it was one of the very unusual weeks. My day started at 6:30 a.m. in the morning with calls, and it ended at midnight every single day. And that was because I was working with people in Jordan, Hong Kong, China, India, Canada, Germany, and Paris. And then within United States, it was Pacific time, Mountain time, and New York time. So it was extremely tiring. It
yeah,
was extremely challenging because we were dealing with some very complex international issues and that spanned over all these geographical locations. But at the end of the day, it left me refreshed. I was surprised. I was expecting that I would be exhausted. Maybe there was physical exhaustion, but mentally, it was so satisfying because I learned so much and I achieved so much, and my inputs made a very valuable contribution to that entire project, and client was extremely helpful or extremely satisfied.
yeah,
So yes, that sense of satisfaction, achievement, the kick, the all
yeah,
that hard work is worth it.
yeah. So this is the final question, and this is just for, again, for the people watching. What is one piece of advice you would give everyone watching on really how to be successful with your money, how to use it wisely, and it could relate to like taxes and everything.
Uh, money. I would say if I were to give one piece of advice to someone, my advice would be plan. Planning is the key. Plan to spend your funds within limits, basically budgeting. Plan to save and invest. Plan for liquidity based on your expected life milestones. Plan for taxes to be paid on account of those decisions. The very important thing. Many people plan for all of these, but don't plan for taxes that will come with these decisions. And they're like, what? I spent all that money. I didn't realize that I have to pay taxes on that. And so do plan to take out a share of taxes, so you don't end up in that situation.
I agree. One thing that for many of the people watching, you might know Gordon Ramsay. One
Mm,
thing that he really preaches is budgeting and always having a budget, always having a plan with your money. And another thing he really like preaches is always having an emergency fund
yes.
because
Which
you
is
never,
why you save, you invest. You
yeah,
don't invest everything. You keep that emergency fund in highly liquid situation where you should be able to monetize it when you need it. That's what emergency is, right?
yeah, because you never know what can happen. So it's always good to have that little emergency fund.
Absolutely, absolutely. And then as you grow in life, you plan for more things. You plan for your home, and all these matter. Like, if you know you are going to buy a home, you will need to make sure you have liquid assets to pay
Yeah,
the down payment. Then that affects how you want to put money into long-term investments, or do you want to put them in short-term investments? So all these, they have to line up together, which is where I said it's not one size fits all. You have to plan, you have to see what you're going to, if you have kids who are going to go to college, and if you're planning to help them with their education, like the tuition, then you need some liquidity at that time. If you have liquid assets, enough liquid assets, then the other assets, any extra, can be pushed to long-term investment which can give you bigger results. But you just have to make sure you don't land up in a place where you need money and you don't have it, or all this money is sitting here when it could have grown for you.
yeah,
It also depends on your life goals, as I said. If you have, if you have charity as a goal, then you plan it such. There are different vehicles where you get the tax benefit and you can still achieve the goal. That's why all of this is important. Or if you want to donate to a charitable organization, there are ways where you can enhance your tax deduction with the same amount of money going to the charitable
Yeah.
organization. So you need to plan. You need to consult. If you are well educated in terms of your finances and taxes, well and good. If not, consult your advisors. People don't realize how much value advisors can add for the cost. Sometimes a small fee can give you much bigger benefits. So look at your situation and make sure you have the right advice from the right consultants.
Yeah. That closes it off. I mean, thank you again, Ms. Lahoti, for your valuable time, sharing your knowledge. I mean, I myself learned so much from this podcast, and I can't imagine how much this can help all the viewers around the world. And especially when you said actually the plant thing, that was one thing that I was like, that's like the best piece of advice you could give. Because even I agree, planning, budgeting, always making sure you know what you're doing with your money is very important. And that's one thing I think not a lot of people learn in school. And that's why I think a financial class should also be mandatory in school, because a lot of times people go in debt. And another thing that Dave Ramsey says is like always stay out of debt. So
Absolutely. Yeah,
it will
I
definitely help
agree.
out. Yeah. And
Yeah, no,
this,
great thing, Arthav. I'm so proud that kids like you are starting these endeavors. Like we have so much reach now with technology, and I'm
yeah,
glad that you're taking these steps to put together these podcasts that can help people, help kids. These learnings should start early,
yeah,
so you can have a better life.
yeah,
Not everything has to be learned after you have sour experiences.
yeah.
So if you can get these basic things in your mind, in your subconscious, as you make your life decisions, or as you step into the real world, they're definitely going to be helpful. So kudos to you for starting this, and I look forward to what other speakers on your podcast have to say and learn from them.
Thank you. I really appreciate everything. And I also hope you guys watching have learned a lot from this podcast. And just thank you. And I subscribe for more financial podcasts, financial information, and all that stuff.
I definitely am.
Thank you.
Thank you. Thanks, everyone.